Welcome to Life in Sirens, Behind and on the Scene, a podcast by first responders. We're your hosts, Sophie,
Jamie,
and Aubrey.
The content provided in this podcast is for informational and educational purposes only and should not be considered medical advice. The views and opinions expressed by the hosts and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the official policies or positions of any medical institutions, emergency medical services, or healthcare organizations. Patient privacy is a top priority, and all discussions involving real-world emergency situations are de-identified and altered to ensure confidentiality. Always consult with a qualified healthcare professional or your local EMS protocols before making any decisions regarding patient care or medical practices. Listener discretion is advised, as some topics may include discussions of real-world emergency situations. Welcome back to Life in Sirens Season 2, Episode 1. So to kick off this new season, we thought we'd start with a little outside perspective. Soph asked her twin brother Russ to write what he thinks EMS is, and he has no EMS experience, which is going to make it even better. So Soph is going to read the letter that Russ wrote.
For the record, I read this to someone, and they're like, "Oh, how old is your brother?"
Oh,
He's 28,
he
guys.
is 28.
So he's not 7. That's what she thought, but it is funny.
But it is funny.
Sophie told me to write what I think EMS is. I don't know why because I don't know anything about it, but here you go. You drive the ambulance around with the lights on. That's the main thing. Sometimes people get out of your way, sometimes they don't, and you have to honk a lot. You probably know all the back roads by now. I think you put people on stretchers and carry them into the hospital. That looks heavy. I don't know how you don't just drop them. You probably have strong arms from it. When people's hearts stop, you shock them with electric things. I think that's called clear. Like on TV. And then they sit up and thank you right away. Probably doesn't happen like that, but that's what I picture. I also think you check blood pressure a lot, and blood sugar. Basically, you check people's blood for everything. Sometimes you save lives. Sometimes you probably just give someone a ride to the hospital. So it's like part hero, part Uber. Also, I bet you drink a lot of coffee. Probably too much. That's all I got.
First of all, I just love that you can follow Russ's stream of consciousness just so vividly in this.
Absolutely. He did not sit down with a pen and paper. He was like,
No.
No, he just texted this to me.
Yes, he said time to get this done.
Time to get it done. Also, the part hero, part Uber is the most accurate representation. Sometimes you do really hardcore things, and sometimes you're just like, meet, you want to ride?
Yeah, and honestly,
Correct.
like, we don't really talk about my job very much, so this is truly just, like, what he imagines it being.
Which I
is
love so
ridiculous.
We do drink too much coffee, Russ.
Yes.
Check
That
a
is
lot
true.
of blood.
We do check a lot of blood,
But not
but not for the things. Well, actually, for exactly the things he thinks.
exactly
Yeah.
the things he thinks. I would like to check more blood.
Yeah, more things on the blood.
More things on the blood.
So Russ thinks EMS is part Uber, part superhero, part coffee addict. But
yeah.
what did we think EMS would be when we signed up? Because that's what people always say, right? You signed up for this.
Oh, yeah.
Honestly, pretty similar vibes. I don't think that I knew that 24-hour shifts were pretty standard. I don't think that I knew how much not life-saving you will do.
Yeah.
They definitely don't tell you that.
They
do not tell you that. And even into EMT school, like, right, you're learning all these pathologies for the first time, and all the instructors are telling you, like, very personal stories of when they've seen this patient, and you are sitting there in class and you're thinking, oh, this happens every day. Like, you are going to see this every day.
Yeah.
That's why they're hammering it into you. That's why it's so important.
Yeah. You're going to miss something and they're going to die.
Yeah.
Right. There
Turns
is
out-
so many social aspects that they don't teach you that, like, I would say that a lot of our job is us being social workers, really. Like, we go because people don't have access to healthcare, or they call 911 because their oxygen concentrator went out, and, like, just the wildest things. And I did not know that.
Sometimes it's not even medical at all. They just are like, hey, my book's on the coffee table in there. You want to grab it for me?
Right.
Or can you turn my air down?
Like,
Or
oh
my dog ran away.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Right? They're like, I didn't know who else to call. And I'm like, what?
Not an ambulance.
I mean, you're really not right. However, I will look for your dog.
That's the thing. We all do it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I'm going to scold you, but I'm going to go do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but nobody really told me how much non-emergency that it was.
Yeah.
And so when I came in the 911, because I did convo first, so then when I came in the 911, I was like, okay, this is what EMS is. And then I ran basically the same calls for the first half of my career.
Yeah.
I was like,
Well, and also, like,
what?
our EMS service that we've spent most of our careers at is very different than some other agencies, like, across the country. Like, they may do a dialysis run in between, like, 2 911 calls, like,
Yeah.
on the same truck. Like, we pretty much exclusively...
Yeah, we actually
we did
don't.
transfers, but, like...
Yeah, we don't take any non-emergency calls, as in, like, a dialysis run or a doctor's appointment or anything like that. We only do 911 calls or emergency transfers.
Yeah.
So that is different because you really could. A lot of services, they don't have options
Yeah.
because they're rural or whatever it is. There's no combo services.
It's just odd, too. Like, imagine, like, going from a cardiac arrest to a doctor's appointment.
Yeah.
Like, that's
Wild.
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 Yeah, no thank you.
So we signed up for EMS, yes, but not all the extras that come with it. I don't think anybody actually told us at all. Like, that's why that phrase actually really bothers me, because not one single person, my best friend at the time, was the reason why I started with EMS and everything. And I still, like, everyone glorifies it. They romanticize it. Like, it's so exciting. It's the best job ever. When they want you to get into it, like, nobody actually tells you, like, what the heck it's really going to be like.
Yeah, nobody is like, people will sneeze on you at 3 a.m. or you'll finally lay down in your bed and then you'll get a 911 call for knee pain that's been happening for 2 weeks. Like, nobody tells you any of that.
Or because they can't sleep.
Right.
That was one of my first calls with you in Austin.
Yep.
They couldn't sleep.
They had insomnia.
Yep. It was like 2 or 3 in the morning. And we were just like, I mean, we can go to the hospital and you can be awake longer. Like, I don't...
Like, for sure longer.
Yeah, you can be awake in the ER or you can be awake in your house.
Yeah.
Also, nobody told you about the sheer adrenaline rush that you get just from trying to consume food.
Yeah.
Like, you don't get a scheduled lunch break. You don't get a scheduled meal break. It is truly just by, like, luck of the draw when and if you get to eat.
Mm-hmm.
And nobody tells you about that.
No, nobody is like, you will have anxiety surrounded by food, but only
by
because
every human
For the rest of your life.
yes, the point of, like, ordering to going to get to actually obtaining
to consuming.
to finally putting in your, like, that is like, so many things can go wrong.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
In that you order it, get a call, well, done. You get there, you get a call, done.
Yeah.
Like, there are so many times that you're like, ugh.
There's been some desperate times
Mhm.
driving that ambulance, and one time I was scarfing down a chicken sandwich from Dodge's. I remember it very
Dodge's.
clearly.
Yep.
I was running emergency traffic.
You were like, I
eating a
have
sandwich.
officially made it.
The amount of
I'm
times
eating a
Yeah.
Dodge's chicken
Yeah.
sandwich.
the amount of times that I've hit a curb while my partner was trying to eat something and it has just been all over them. I'm like, it was an interesting choice
Yeah.
to take on the run, but
Yeah.
also my
Oh,
bad.
I've
Next
had like
time, leave your
ramen
soup at
noodles in the
home.
passenger seat.
Oh,
Like, I
absolutely.
have,
Mac and cheese.
Mhm.
Like, it is very, people talk about, there's a lot of talk about, like, I think health related to, like, police and fire and things like that, because fire is kind of the opposite problem. They all cook a lot together, but it's, like, not healthy.
Oh yeah.
And then PD, they're in their car their whole shift. So, like, it's actually kind of hard to, like, prep your food when you just sit in a car
Yeah.
all day long. But we were basically just, like, running around the city.
Yeah, they do not
Constantly.
care. They're like, oh, you haven't peed or eaten or
Mm-mm.
had a drink of water in 12 hours? That's a bummer, man. You should have
Prepared for that.
prioritized, I guess. Prioritize what? You kept sending me on calls. Also, we're like, EMS is like the redheaded stepchildren of first responders. We do
Faux
not
show.
get like the public, I guess, recognition that some other divisions of first responders may receive. We probably don't get the worst, maybe, but like within the community of all of us, if you put all the responders together, I feel like we just get shit on.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I used to go. So, Sunday mornings, like, a bunch of the female officers, they would all go to lunch or breakfast. They would all meet up and get breakfast together. So if I was getting off that morning, like, we would work Saturday and I got off Sunday morning, sometimes I would go with them. And the first time I ever went, we all sat around, like, the table. We went to First Watch, yeah. We all sat around the table and they were all just, like, cackling and we were having a good time. And then we went to go pay and somebody had paid for breakfast. And I was like, oh, did one of y'all pay? And they're like, oh no, like somebody here probably paid.
That would never happen to
And
us.
it happens every single time they go.
So
like,
they just...
It's like almost
I
expected.
feel like it's almost like a scam.
Yeah, it happens every
It's
single
a
time.
reverse scam.
Yeah, some like sweet old pappy will pay for all of their breakfast.
That's insane.
Yeah, and I would just sat there and I was like, do they know that I'm a paramedic and not a cop? But they would be like, but not hers.
Honestly.
Yes. But like, I mean, how many times do we all go eat breakfast together, like in the mornings or whatever it is? And
I've like gone
nothing.
in, like one time Ashley and I went into Starbucks. I'm calling y'all out right now. And we were like, oh no, we got to call like after we ordered, and we were like, we'll be back. Do you mind waiting if like to make those? And they were like, yes, come back. We ordered on the app so they could see, like we had proof.
Mhm.
Anyway, we come back and they were like, oh, we already made them. And then they got mad at us because we're like, okay, we're going to order again. And we were going to pay for them and everything. And they were like, they're right here. I'm like, they've been there for like 3 hours. I don't want a 3-hour-old
no.
They're
cold brew.
crusty dusty.
Ewy.
Yeah, I was like, I'm going to work. I already ordered them again on the, like, I literally already ordered
Yes,
them
I
again
will
on the
buy
app.
it again.
It's like a new order, guys. Like, and they were still like, well, what about these? I'm like, I'll throw them away, I guess. I don't know.
I will put them in the trash
It was the
can.
oddest thing. So we talked about, I guess, kind of like school a little bit and what they prepared us for. Like, what did you think about EMS before you decided to go into the field, like based on like pop culture and stuff like that?
I absolutely had no idea what the difference was between like an EMT, paramedic.
Yeah,
I had no idea you had to be an EMT basic to then get your advanced to then be
no.
able to go to paramedic school.
I didn't know there was ALS and BLS trucks.
Oh yeah, I didn't even know
Yeah.
what that meant.
I had no idea what that meant. I assumed that every single ambulance was a part of the fire department
Mm-hmm.
because I grew up in Lexington, Kentucky, and I also thought that all ambulances were red.
Yeah,
Because in
they all are red up
Lexington,
there.
yeah, in Lexington, their trucks are red.
In our state, they're mostly, for the record, for those listening, they're mostly white and orange.
Yes,
Some
yeah,
of them have like a chevron on the back.
yeah. And when I grew up in Lexington, so I thought like internationals and red were like what an ambulance was, and then because you don't really pay attention. You don't like pay attention when you're not in it. So obviously there's so many surrounding counties that would come through Lexington, but I didn't like know what that meant.
Yeah.
And I just assumed that every single ambulance was a 911 ambulance.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, that's reasonable, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point. I had no idea that there was a whole like convalescent division.
Oh
that
yeah,
just specifically did non-emergency
absolutely.
things.
I got my basic, and I had a friend in college whose mom worked for Nashville, and I got my basic, and I was like, I'm ready to come work for the city
They were like,
of
"Get outta
Nashville. And she was like, oh,
here."
no.
You
First of
can't.
all, there's a wait list. Second of all, you have to have a whole nother licensure. And I was like, what is this place? I had no idea what was going on.
Well, I was just like surprised too. Like, I think if there's people listening that don't know anything about EMS, like for convalescent, that's like the non-emergency transport, so it's like scheduled stuff. The things that I did when I was in convo, like we would go to people's doctor's appointments, we would go to people's CT scans, we'd bring them in, push them over to their little scanner and bring it, like you would just stay there like with them during their doctor's appointment and then leave with them. It was just weird. We would go pick up like organs like from the airport with like a
Yep.
team and like bring those to like it was just
That was always the weirdest run ticket to write.
because there's no patient.
Yeah, because you're like
But
picked
like
up
I guess kind of there is, but there's
organ
not.
with man holding organ.
He
what?
kept holding it the whole time. I didn't
Even get to look
I
at
didn't
it.
even look at it.
I don't even know if there's
I didn't
really an
get to
organ
poke
in
it.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was, I think, working convo. That is one thing that I was always surprised by when we started 911 is how like your patients a lot of times, especially if they have had non-emergency ambulances, they're like, "Are you going to take me home?" When you take them to the ER.
Oh yeah, I'm like, whoa, no.
Yeah, the amount of times that we say, "Oh nope, we're a one-way train."
Somebody will get you home.
Somebody gets
They're
home.
not going to strand you.
It will not be me though.
But the whole time I worked convo, I was like, "Oh yeah, I'm going to sit right next to you."
Oh yeah, honey, scoot over. I'm not going anywhere.
Yeah, I would be
What are we
right here
watching?
in this chair.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would be like, would you like me to leave?
Yeah, it
During
was so
your
weird
personal-
though. It's
Doctor's
like you're at
appointments?
work, so
Yeah.
like you can't just like be on your phone in the lobby. But a lot of the times we would like bring the patient in on the stretcher, put the stretcher with the patient on it in the exam room, and my partner and I would like go wait in the waiting room while they saw the doctor if they wanted that privacy or whatever. And you just like sit there.
The amount of times that I had
It's
to tell the
weird.
doctors, like, hey, if you need to move the stretcher or unbuckle them or lower it, don't
Please-
do it.
please
Come
don't.
get me.
Yeah.
because they would just start pushing buttons and like undoing buckles and be like, can you roll off of this? I'd be like, oh my God.
Can you roll off of this
I'm
thing?
like, the exam table is wider than our stretcher. So
Right. And everybody knows that
caution.
Convo is notorious for like dropping patients because it's just a bunch of new babies that have never done this before.
Yeah.
So we were all very concerned. Every time a doctor would touch it, I would be like, I'm going to get sued.
Yeah, I was so scared of getting in trouble.
Me too.
I always thought from like TV, like Grey's Anatomy, that like when we went to the ER, the doctors would like meet us outside.
Yeah.
I did too. And I thought report was like a running, shouting
Yeah.
situation.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
they would be also as invested in my patient, and then I would be shouting report at them as we're running through the ER.
No one is. Also, sometimes Ashley and I walk really fast because we appear to walk really fast. I'll say that because we have little legs, so it just look they're just moving faster. And there's been many times where doctors have been like, "Is everything okay?" I'm like,
Yeah, we're good.
Like, you guys are moving. I'm like, you're walking at a stroll and we're just matching your speed right now, and we just have short legs.
Our little
So
legs.
They're just a lot of movement.
we don't
A lot of
run,
movement.
basically. That I also learned that.
Yes. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
No one runs. If someone is running on TV or you see a video like on TikTok or something and EMS isn't running, it's not because they're not doing their job well.
Yes. We don't run. Because if I run
I'll fall.
and fall down or break my leg or I can't breathe when I get to you, then I'm kind of useless.
Yep.
And now there's 2 patients instead of 1. I watched Night Watch before I ever entered EMS. And Holly, if you can hear this, never
She's
mind.
going to be at that conference that we're speaking at in November.
Oh, is she really?
Yeah.
Um,
We have to talk about that too.
honestly, though, I don't know how that beanie stayed on your head. However,
That's a great point.
right, I would watch Night Watch, and every single thing that they would run, I was like, oh my gosh, this is so hardcore. Like, this is crazy. Even the calls that they were like, yeah, sometimes people are just lonely, whatever. Before watching it, or before actually doing it, I was like, that is the coolest job. And then we started doing it, and you don't realize how normal all of that gets.
It's just your life.
Like, they were just running normal 911 calls. Like, there was a few that were like crazy, but for the most part, it was just like regular old 911 calls. They like do a 12 lead and be like, looks good, buddy, let's take you to the ER.
Yeah.
Like, but that, thinking about it was so wild to my brain that I watched it and was like so enamored by what was happening.
Yeah, it's so cool. That's like
Yeah.
my family. They're like, that's the coolest job ever. Or like
Mhm.
flight stuff. They're like, oh my God. I'm like, it is way more chill than you think.
Right? Yeah. Once you actually get in it, I could just forget
Yeah.
that I used to look at it just like,
Wow.
yeah.
Yeah.
hmm
Man, that was a great show. Night Watch.
And that was the first look ever into like actual EMS.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like an
What it-
accurate representation.
Yes. And even going back and watching it now, I'm like, oh yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I
Like,
think
it
they
is.
did a great job with it, honestly.
Mhm.
Like, that's impressive that I was on for,
As long as it was. Yeah.
For sure. Especially because like the alternative is like what, like Chicago Fire, where every single
911.
right, every single iota of patient care takes place outside of the ambulance because it's very hard to film inside of an ambulance. I'm like, talk to Night Watch, they did it. But
You
they'll
can
just
do it.
yeah, they'll be like intubating somebody with the stretcher just hooked on the back of the truck, and I'm like, what are we doing?
I mean, like, think about how many people we can fit in an ambulance. Not comfortably, but you can do it.
You can
Somebody
do
can, like,
it.
stand in the captain's
Yeah.
chair or something.
also, you can
Just
like
mount a camera
Yeah,
above the back doors, you
Mhm.
know?
for sure.
Come on
the
now,
amount of times
guys.
that I have stood on a bench seat and had to like monkey bar over people,
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
they could do it.
Oh, yeah.
When I first started too, I thought I was gonna like look really cool in the uniform. And guys, I'll post one of my very first pictures. Everyone in this room has seen it, and I look first of all like a baby. Secondly, my pants are up to my boobs. I look like a granny,
Mm-hmm.
but also a baby at the same time. And I don't know how to elaborate on that
Yes.
one, except for I'm gonna show you the picture.
No,
So-
it-
Accurate, yeah.
It tracks. It is. We had the most horrid uniform pants,
Oh yeah, I gotta find that.
and then I like fought tooth and nail for like years to get women's versions of them, and it was worse.
It was worse.
I was like, guys, we have
Yeah.
finally succeeded. They're ordering women's pants, and we were all like, hurrah! And then they finally gave us the women's pants. The hips were narrower, not wider.
It was terrible.
But they were even taller. So like the inseam, like they added like 17 inches to the inseam. And so then it truly was like basically also a sports bra. And no one told me that. No one told me that a bunch of middle-aged men would be like, these are the pants you have to wear. No one told me that all these old pappies were going to dress me for years. I had no idea. Now I feel like we look cool.
I think we do look a lot better. I posted, like, I don't even know what it was, something on the internet about, the pants that I was wearing, because people asked me about my pants, and all these men were commenting that, like, all y'all care about is what you look like.
Wanting to look good in your uniform,
it does make a difference.
Is not a bad thing.
Also,
like,
to,
think
like,
about
public perception.
Yes, and think about like any other career. Nobody is like telling a lawyer like, "Oh, you look good in that suit." That's all you care about.
Yeah.
All you care about is tricking this jury.
Why do
Yes,
do
it is.
those Mr. Doctor Man? Why do those scrubs fit you?
Yeah.
You should wear bigger ones. Like, none of that doesn't make sense.
No.
So when you tell like women that are EMS, like all you care about is looking good. Well, I would like to look good when I get to someone's home, because there's plenty of studies that show that if you look professional and put together and nice, people trust you more.
Well, I genuinely I don't think you can truly understand being in clothing for that long, doing that kind of work as a woman, and then also showing up and people not taking you seriously because you're a woman, but then you also are a woman wearing a parachute. So what is it actually like?
Oh my god.
Sorry, we derailed the conversation. We got really serious about our pants.
We did. That was the most concerning thing, I guess, going
That's
on.
what
I mean,
we,
it was.
that is what we did for 4 years. We're
It
just
was
talking about
so
pants.
Yeah, that's
uncomfortable.
true. Okay, so what EMS is actually like, I know you guys have heard me say this before, but I think that the most accurate description I can give in one sentence is that for 24 hours, everybody has your phone number and you can't say no. Like, that doesn't mean that you're getting called for emergencies. That doesn't mean that you're not getting called for emergencies. That just means everybody has access to your phone number, and you have to go see what is going on.
Yeah, no matter what.
Yeah.
They can literally say nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you just have to show up and be like,
Yeah, and they'll still
Yeah.
send you. They'll be like, scene secure. We're outside.
we're outside.
Go inside.
Yeah, you just have to be like, you rang?
And sometimes people are just like, I just need to go to the hospital. And you're like, why? And they're just like, gotta go.
I
go.
need to go. It is time.
There was like, okay, so you know how like old grannies, they're adorable, but also know nothing about EMS because it didn't start until they were like already grannies.
Yeah.
We had this one granny the other day from a notorious Granny Towers, and she just said like she answered her phone and was like, "Oh yeah, I got me a ride, so I'm gonna head on up there."
Oh,
And-
she just got a ride.
Yep, and she was so like just precious, and she meant nothing by it. But I was like choking back, like, we're an emergency service.
Meanwhile, the fire department's there. We're there. Our lights are going. 'Cause
Just
we're
a ride.
in a busy parking lot. Like, it just, when you look at it like that, it seems ridiculous.
Yeah. Definitely more social work than trauma surgery and more paperwork than adrenaline.
Absolutely. The more social work than trauma surgery. Nobody tells you that. Nobody. I had no idea. I thought that I was going to be covered in blood 99% of the time and was just going to be going hard and loving every second of it. And really, I'm covered in tears and other people's emotions.
And skin
99%
flakes.
And skin flakes.
And Jerry Snow.
Yeah.
99% of the time. And nobody told you that.
No.
I had no idea that I would just be like, they're there, hunty.
Yeah.
Also, we need to talk about that for just a minute. I also had no idea that, like, when you get older, your skin is just naturally more dry, and then it flakes.
I didn't know either.
I had no
sometimes
idea
it
that was
like
a thing.
flakes off in
Big
pieces that
old
are so big. I'm
chunks.
like, how did that happen?
Like, you will
Like,
see.
you need to check your leg. You're missing something.
Yeah.
Right? Like a baby basic. They'll come do clinicals, and inevitably, at some point, somebody will be like, take my shoe off, Sonny. Take my sock off, boy.
Please don't.
And they'll just do it really fast, and it will just be like a of skin snow. And then everyone runs
And
because it'll
except
get
for the
on you
student.
and you can't get rid. And then the student's just covered in it and they're like gonna vomit. It really is horrible, and no one warned you for that.
No.
I needed an N95 for that, not COVID, honestly.
Yeah, like the way
Where
that
were
I
they before
judge,
COVID?
Were they?
the way that I judge if your family truly is caring for you and love you or not when you get old is by how dry your skin is.
Yeah.
If they are not
and how
rubbing,
your nails are.
yes,
Mhm.
if they're not rubbing lotion all over you and cutting your toenails, then I'm so sorry, but they're not doing the best.
My 81-year-old uncle goes and gets pedicures every other week
That's awesome, honestly.
because he does not want crusty
That should be
toes.
part of like nursing
Like
home
senior
care.
discounts and
Yeah,
stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah, go get your toes
Please.
did.
That's a good
Oh,
part of your
hey,
health.
hon.
Please, please. And write like in your will that like your kids are going to be written out of it if they don't put lotion on you when you're old.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
Because
think that's completely reasonable.
that's the kicker.
I will say that if you do not know this, there's a movie that just came out called Code 3, and it is, let me tell you, for EMS and by EMS,
Oh, yeah.
and it is hilarious. It is very accurate as far as like the mental load that goes on in EMS and just the wild things that we find ourselves in, and also the nuances that we don't even have time to cover in this episode.
Yeah.
So if you have not seen that movie, I highly encourage you to go see it. It was very,
Yeah.
very good.
There's a part of Code 3, like if you're not in EMS and if you are in EMS, there's a couple nuances that we were like, that's actually not accurate. But we think that it was not accurate intentionally, which is kind of cool. So there's lots of scenes where they're moving through traffic and they have their lights on and their sirens are going and everyone is moving to the right. Like everyone is moving to the right. Everyone is doing it appropriately.
Yeah.
Everyone is pulling over.
That does not happen.
And that does not happen in real life. And so initially we were like, oh, like, come on. But if anyone that is not in EMS watches this movie, they want to show them basically like, that's what you're supposed to do.
Yeah.
You're supposed to pull to the right.
Please, dear God, do
But
not pull in front
That
of
was a
us.
cool moment where initially we were like, okay, we all know that doesn't happen. But that it was probably incorrect intentionally
On purpose.
to show everybody what you're supposed to do.
Yeah.
Patrick and Paul, they're the writers, and I think Patrick, and I think his nickname's like Pizza or something because
Amazing.
his last name is like Pianeza. I'm so
Oh.
sorry, Patrick. But he was a paramedic. So
That's awesome.
there is some pretty cool stuff in there, and I think it speaks to a lot of people's souls.
It really does.
Yeah.
They did a good job keeping it palatable, but accurate.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so I enjoyed that.
I think they highlighted kind of like the dark humor without being too like
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
could have sent it full send.
Full
and
send.
They didn't.
Yes.
I know
and
it still might seem harsh, but
yes. And honestly, that is like such a good insight. Like if you have seen that movie, if you go see that movie,
yeah.
that is not full send,
Correct.
No.
right? Like they still had to make sure that it was appropriate and it was palatable and people could actually watch it. Not full send, which shows you what people actually see in the
Yeah.
field.
And I will say this, so the student in the movie who's doing the ride along, she is sorry, this is a spoiler alert. Here's 3, 2, 1 spoiler. Okay, she is a resident, and I saw some people on TikTok talking about how that's not accurate, but in some systems it is super accurate. That does
100%.
happen in our system all the time. We have tons of residents that ride with us, so
For sure.
if you didn't know that, doctors do ride to shadow on ambulances quite often.
And depending on what med school they have graduated from and what residency program they're in, because sometimes med students will ride too, but whatever residency program they're in, sometimes it is a required rotation
Yeah.
for them,
I think it's
especially if they're
awesome
doing
perspective.
emergency med.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's super great.
For sure, just to see it, like we've all been in the ER where ED physician is asking you like the silliest things and you're like, clearly I did not have time to do it.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
pouring
How could
rain.
I possibly know that?
Yeah, like it's pouring rain. We were in a ditch. Like this is the best I can do. And they'll ask you something ridiculous.
Or like something that you would absolutely never have on an ambulance. You're
yeah,
like,
you're like, God,
"What?
no.
no, I did no.
And we're always like the audacity. But like when
Yeah.
they ride with you when you're residents, they are down in that ditch with you and they're like, oh,
Yeah.
this is kind of hard.
Yeah.
Which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the thing is like the ER is like rugged medicine. I feel like when compared to other specialties, but EMS like we don't get anything. Like we just have to build something from nothing. So if we bring you something that is just cuckoo bananas, we tried our best.
Yeah,
We
really.
did try our best.
Yeah, we're
Sometimes
running
patients
off.
are like, I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to the doctor at the hospital.
Oh yeah, they just won't. Like we're literally
okay.
running off end titles and vibes. Like,
Yeah.
doesn't
Oh, what
actually, like-
surprised you most? That's one of the questions I'd ask.
Oh, what surprised me most?
What surprised you most about EMS? Honestly, I think that I was most surprised by like how the community within EMS, how tight it is, and like that is absolutely a lifestyle. This is not just a job. It is a lifestyle. Like you
Yeah.
cannot do this job and it just be like, oh, I go to work and I can forget about it. It's not possible. And if you say you do that, I need to know your secrets.
Yeah, because it really does. Like it ingrains itself in your entire life.
Yeah.
And it's hard not to when you live with people for 24 hours. Like that's just tough.
Yeah, I just didn't expect
Yeah.
it to be like that.
Mm-mm. I think what surprised me the most, and it still surprises me, and we're actively trying to do something about it, but is the lack of resources that we have to help people with.
Yeah.
Like, I always assumed that like an ambulance would show up, and if they couldn't do it, they'd at least have the answer. And then especially if I was like, when I was an AEMT, my first partner, her name was Tiffany, and she is just bomb and can multitask like a boss, and I'm just always very impressed by her. And she always had the answer to literally everything. And I just assumed that one day I'd grow up to be a paramedic, and then I would have the answer to everything.
I feel like it feels like your paramedic knows the answer when you're an EMT.
It does.
Like they know everything.
And then I grew up, and I got my medic, and I got my critical care, and guess what? I still do not have great resources for these humans when I'm like, oh, you don't actually need me. You need X, Y, and Z. And like, we just don't have super good access to that. And I'm very, very surprised that that's the case. I always kind of assumed that like we would have the list, you know?
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah. I always thought that was wild. Obs, what's something that surprised you?
I'm trying to think. I feel like at least 3 times a day I say, man, if they would have told me this before I got an EMS. And I just can't think of a ding thing right now. Give me a second. What's the question? Sorry.
What is the most surprising thing to you? Like, what did you learn that was most surprising when you became an EMT or paramedic?
I think that one of the most surprising things was how often EMS has to deal with behavioral issues.
Yeah.
And how little training on the front end we have with that. And you truly, it is a learn as you go situation with those. And
that is wild. Yeah.
It is wild.
They're like, here's this stranger, become their best friend.
Fix them.
And fix them.
Yes.
Yeah. Right.
And then go ride in a U-Haul with them.
Yeah.
Yes. Behaviorals are very, like, when we talk about how EMS is such a new field, I feel like handling behavioral emergencies is just such a new concept because people are trying to handle it appropriately now. And it's really tough to, like, really figure out and get in there. And we always talk about how, like, there's a difference between too dangerous to ride with EMS, but also too dangerous to ride with PD.
Yeah. Beyond that, there is too dangerous to ride with PD.
Right. Like, at some point, we're in, like, a hypermetabolic behavioral emergency, and now that is decision. EMS. But then sometimes they're too violent to ride with EMS, and it's PD. Like, it's really hard to kind of draw those lines. And the other one was, what did people always tell you about anyone that is a psych patient before you get an EMS? What do they teach you in school?
Don't feed into their delusions.
Yes. Don't feed into their delusions.
No, please do,
False.
or they might murder
By
you.
George, feed into those delusions.
100%.
This is
not
not
true.
medical advice.
Yes.
This is
Thank you.
save yourself advice.
This is save yourself. No, that is so true. Like, in the ER.
Yeah, with everything possible.
Don't feed into their delusions. That's fine. That is not true when you're running down the street.
I'd be like, okay, we're running.
Yeah, you're like, yeah, homie, these aliens are trying to get us. Let's
go
get into
the
my
ambulance.
spaceship. Like,
yeah.
Which there is a very good depiction of this whole situation that we're describing on Code 3.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not going to lie, I cried.
I did
during
too.
that scene.
I just want to see it so badly.
Speaking of, like, how legality is so just unknown in EMS.
Yeah, I didn't expect that also.
Yeah,
in
no.
EMS.
Nobody knows the rules.
Yeah.
And kind of the rules are made up, but nobody can tell you who made them up and why.
But you
and
always
if you have to
make
listen to them.
the right choice. But you don't know what the right choice is.
But you got to find it somewhere.
But if you do what's best for your patient.
And you document very well.
Yes.
Just call for help.
Call for help.
Say,
Scream for
I'm
help.
going to do this thing. Is it okay?
But we have recently found a podcast called the Standard of Care Podcast. And it kind of dives into the legality issues of EMS. And I'm pretty excited to jump into it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
there's
we're all
another
gonna check
important
it
little
out.
resource.
Well, with that, you didn't sign up for this. Special thanks to you all for being here for another season. Special thanks to ourselves because, holy crap, life is crazy. And then special thanks to my brother, who is in no way a healthcare specialist. The closest he's come to healthcare is doing specialty coating rooftops and bathroom floors in hospitals. So, yeah.
Keep doing big things, Russ.
Yeah.
Man. Well,
Clear.
this has been Life in Sirens, produced by 3 nerds trying to bring you content that you might actually care about.